This is the September Scrapbooking from the Heart YouTube Hop. Our theme for September is learning. I'm Emilee, and you've found Emilee's Paper Caper, where we're all about scrapping our stash and getting pages done. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button and bell icon now. I am amazed that every day I learn something new. I learn something new either at work or just in my daily life with my family. And for this theme, I decided to do a page to reflect on what it is to be a lifelong learner. I'm going to doodle on this page. I find that creativity is a great outlet for learning. I'm going to cut this out as kind of a thought bubble and then have my photo here as if it's my thoughts on the topic of learning. This will be my base page, and I plan to use some of my recent coloring. This is a Dollar Tree mini coloring book. I've had a lot of fun coloring in it with my gel pens and some alcohol ink markers. And I thought this would be fun to punch out some of the circles in these pages that I've colored to repurpose some of the pretty things I've colored in this album as embellishments on the background. I've also used some of my coloring as card fronts, and if you watch until the very end of this video, I will share a few cards. If you're also a card maker, you may like to see ideas for creating cards with your colored images. After I finish my coloring, I often think, gosh, I really like that image and I'd like to use it for something else. And sometimes I'll put them in my glue books, but I've decided to also start using them on my scrapbook pages and cards. One of my New Year's resolutions is to draw and doodle on my pages. So I'm sort of doing that here with this thought bubble. I plan to do all the journaling by hand in this thought bubble as well. So it's going to be a fun and creative page using my handwriting and lettering and also some of my coloring creations. I selected this 12 by 12 paper for the thought bubble because there's a very faint white line and it will help me write and use it sort of as an embellishment title and journaling block. And this portion of the page is going to go right into my scrap bin because I will definitely use this paper. It has these great lines for journaling. One of my New Year's resolutions was also to sew on pages. And I've found that I just don't do it enough. So I'm going to do a cheat and do a faux stitch, just drawing it around the border of this page just for fun. I love the look of stitching, but I find it just takes too long and I'm not patient enough to sew on pages as much as I think I'd like to. This is just a highlighter type pen with a chisel tip. I'm going to go in with this Bic Ultra Fine Point permanent marker to kind of highlight some of those stitches. I don't have to do all of them, but I can do a few of them to make them stand out a little bit more. Excellent. Now let's get some of these pages out and we will punch or fussy cut the images, and I'll use that to embellish the background. Be sure to check out all the other channels participating in this collaboration. They all have their own take on the learning theme, and they all have their own creative style that I think you'll enjoy seeing all of the ideas. Now I'm going to use in smaller fonts. I reflected on what it means to be a lifelong learner and the things that I do as I embrace learning in my daily life. And so I'm going to write in a smaller letter those things that I do. Here are some things that I do as a lifelong learner. I try new things. I ask lots of questions. Travel is always a learning experience. Being creative is a way to learn. Enjoying hobbies, observing, and keeping an open mind as much as you can. Before I adhere these to the page, I'm going to embellish the background a little bit with my coloring. I've got my ATG gun. Letting those elements fall off your page allows you to use every inch of that 12 by 12 palette, 12 by 12 area, adds a sense of motion, visual interest. It's one of my favorite things to do. I tend to color when I'm watching TV. So I get lots of pages done. I'm not a fancy colorer by any means. I don't do the Copic markers yet. I don't do blending as, you know, blending and fancy techniques like that, but I find that it's quite fun, and I want to enjoy these things that I've colored instead of just leaving them in the book. So this is a way to do that. I'm trying to get these thought bubbles to show that this is me thinking and reflecting. So that's the completed page for the collaboration this month. Don't forget to check out those other channels participating. Here are examples of cards I've created with my coloring. This was a pocket card that I used as a frame, and then I fussy cut out one of the fish on that page. This is a pretty peacock, and I just added him to the front of a card. Here's one that I used some alcohol markers on as well as gel pens. This one might be my favorite. It's an elephant that I fussy cut and put on the card front. I'd love to see what you're creating on Instagram. Please find me and tag me at egrup284. I would love to see what you've been up to.